John Richard with Vertical Voyages, and today we're going to look at escaping the belay when belaying directly off the harness, redirected through the master point. This is generally not considered the best practice. It would be far better if I was belaying directly off the anchor. However, if you climb multi-pitch, the skill required to get out of this situation is an important part of self-rescue. There also might be some situations where you might belay off your harness, especially in certain alpine contexts. So let's look at escaping the belay. Let's say that I'm climbing a multi-pitch route and my follower, or my partner following the pitch I had just led, has been hit by a rock and they can't continue to climb the pitch. I'm too far up the pitch to lower them back down, and I need to find some way to get out of this situation, either to counterbalance rappel down to them or set up a haul system to get them to me. So before I start going over the steps to do this, let's define the ropes. This rope here is my tie-in. It's going up to the shelf of my anchor, and I'm secured with a clove hitch with a locking carabiner. This is the back side of my clove hitch. That goes down to the rest of the rope. I'm belaying directly off my harness. The rope's going up, redirected through the master point, going down to my partner who's tied to the other end of the rope. So to start, first thing I need to do is go hands-free. I need to maintain security, so I'm going to pass a bite through the carabiner, my belay device carabiner, and I'm going to secure that with an overhand knot directly above the device. Now I can go hands-free. Next, I need to transfer the load directly to the master point. To do that, I need to temporarily grab the rope here. I'm going to use a friction hitch and tie it off in a load-releasable way. I'm going to use a friction hitch. If you don't have a friction hitch, you could use a nylon sling. You could also use your cordelette. But we should have a friction hitch if we're climbing multi-pitch especially. And I'm going to tie this with a climb heist. We're going to function check that, making sure that it grabs effectively. And I'm going to install that with a locking HMS style carabiner. Now, to secure this in a load releasable way, I'm going to use the back side of my tie-in right here. So this is the back side of my clove hitch, and I'm going to secure it with a munter. Okay, I'm going to lock this down, and I'm going to dress the slack out of the system. Now I'm going to mule this off. And tie off that mule with an overhand. At this point, I'm ready to transfer the load onto this hitch. So I'm going to take the overhand out and transfer the load onto this friction hitch. Now, at this point, my partner's weight is solely on this hitch. If this hitch were to fail, it would go back to this belay device. So I need to maintain security here because we never want to hang our partner's life solely on a friction hitch. So I need to have a catastrophe knot on the brake strand here. But I do need some slack to work with. So I'm going to allow some slack. I'm going to tie an overhand catastrophe knot behind my belay device. Now I'm going to tie a munter-hitch up here. And there's a slight lapse of security here, but it's minor because the rope going to my partner is still captured. This is one reason you should learn to tie your munter-hitch on the carabiner as opposed to building them in the air. So I'm simply going to flip this strand up, create my munter-hitch. But right now it's not in the preloaded configuration, so I'm going to flip it. And then I'm going to dress this slack out before I mule it off. At this point, I'm going to mule off this munter and secure it with an overhand. If you're not familiar with how to do the Munter-Mule-Overhand, you should watch our mini clinic on the Munter-Mule-Overhand. Okay? Now that this is secured, I'm going to perform a squeeze check on that master point carabiner, and now I'm going to transfer the load back onto my anchor. So I can take this overhand out and I can pop this mule on this munter here. I'm going to muffle this a bit so I don't startle my partner. And now I'm going to transfer the load back to my master point. And again, this is load releasable because I'm either going to have to convert this to a counterbalance rappel or into a haul system. But for now, I'm escaped from the system. So I'm going to clean things up. Take this friction hitch off. And at this point, since I'm secured to the master point, I can take the catastrophe knot out and take my belay device out of the system. Now I'm free to do what I need to do next. What I would probably do is rappel the back side of my tie-in to check on my partner, because that might inform what I'm going to do next, depending on the terrain.